Hey everybody, and welcome to our recap of The Witcher Season 4. Today we're catching up with Geralt and the gang as we dive into yet another season of The Witcher, this time with Liam Hemsworth in the lead role. With Ciri missing, Vilgefortz building his power, and his allies spread to the wind, Season 4 marks a big turning point for Geralt and both his biggest allies and enemies. If you guys like this recap or it helps you prepare for the next season, don't forget to drop us a like, but for now, let's get going with the recap, starting with Episode 1. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. The monster-slaying witcher, Geralt of Rivia, rides through the countryside, along with his companions Jaskier and Milva. Together, the trio make their way south to the Empire of Nilfgaard, hoping to reclaim Princess Ciri, Geralt's adopted daughter, from the clutches of the Nilfgaardian Emperor, Emhyr, Ciri's biological father. Whilst traversing through a forest, they come to a traveling party led by the dwarf Zoltan Chiwe.
I'll be damned. It's a white wolf. Zoltan Chiwe is the name. Bulbous-nosed friend here is Percival Schottenbach. Shut your beak! Bird is clever but vulgar.
And the two sides agree to journey together for safety through this war-torn land. Meanwhile, Geralt's partner, the witch Yennefer, returns to her newly formed organization, the Lodge of Sorceresses, after an unsuccessful hunt for the powerful sorcerer Vilgefortz. Her pursuit had been cut short when her ability to make teleportation portals suddenly stopped. Upon her return to their temporary headquarters in the Giancardi Bank, she finds the gate besieged by a mob, seemingly agitated by mages working for Vilgefortz. Capturing one of the mages, Bernita, Yennefer tries to interrogate her, but Bernita dies before Yen can break into her mind. With common folk turning against them and Vilgefortz somehow interfering with their ability to create portals, Yennefer decides that they must go on the offensive and declares to her fellow witches that they need to raise an army to battle him. Meanwhile, Ciri, who had been teleported deep into Nilfgaardian territory during the Battle of Aretuza, decides to join a young gang of thieves called the Rats, and getting closer to one of their members, a girl named Missel, she ends up spending the night with her. Simultaneously, in a meeting among the various northern rulers, a very nervous King Radovid of Redania is informed that Nilfgaard is steadily conquering northern lands one by one, and that the remaining kingdoms must group together to fight back. Episode 2. Dream of a Wish Fulfilled. Looking for allies, Yennefer goes to Philippa Eilhart, a fellow witch and advisor to King Radovid, and asks for sanctuary for the lodge and aid in the battle against Vilgefortz, their common enemy. She also meets with Fringilla Vigo, a capable Nilfgaardian mage who'd had a falling out with Emperor Emhyr. Informing Fringilla that Vilgefortz will likely try to recruit her, Yen asks that she agrees so they can have someone on the inside. By pointing out that Vilgefortz's defeat will greatly weaken Emhyr, Yennefer manages to convince her. On their journey south, Geralt and the others come across a graveyard, where they meet a mysterious doctor named Emil Regis.
My name is Emil Regis. I'm a barber surgeon.
You smell like an apothecary shop?
Yes.
Why were you hiding from us?
From war, my friend.
Claiming that the roving bands of armies made him fearful of moving alone, Regis also asks to be allowed to travel with the group. Meanwhile, at his castle, Emhyr has a private chat with Terran, a girl that Vilgefortz had presented to his court after the Battle of Aretuza as Ciri. Feeling something off about her, Emhyr hands Terran a sword, and he orders her to attack him, knowing that the real Ciri had been taught sword fighting by Geralt. Though Terran obliges, Emhyr instantly sees through the deception from her amateurish moves. Furious because he needed the real Ciri in order to fulfill an old elven prophecy, Emhyr presents this information to his spy master, Stefan Skellen, and orders Skellen to have Vilgefortz brought before him. Episode 3. Trial by Ordeal. At Monte Calvo, a castle owned by Philippa, the Lodge, now also joined by Francesca Findabair, Queen of the Elves, are told by Yennefer that Vilgefortz must be lured in and killed before he can find Ciri, who, as a carrier of the Elder Blood gene, holds immense magical power. While traveling with the Rats, Ciri begins to suspect that she is being followed, and at a tattoo parlor with Missel, she is approached by 3 men hoping to collect a bounty placed on her capture by Emhyr. Unfortunately for them, though, she proves far too skillful and easily kills them all with a few rapid sword strikes.
I think you have me confused with someone else.
The princess, come on!
At Stygia Castle, Fringilla, who'd successfully infiltrated Vilgefortz's forces, is brought to a chamber where she is shown a large magical device that Vilgefortz had been using to block his enemies from portaling. Answering his summons, Vilgefortz presents himself before the Emperor. Though initially acting humble, when Emhyr reveals that his deception has been uncovered, Vilgefortz drops his mask and arrogantly states that Ciri is far too powerful to be given to Emhyr and will instead be his, before walking away.
Cirilla is far greater than you. Power like that could never be yours. She will, however, be mine.
Astutely noting from Vilgefortz's wording that he doesn't have Ciri yet, Emhyr orders Skellen to find the real princess while announcing his engagement to the fake one in order to claim a rulership over Cintra, Ciri's kingdom from her mother's side. However, Skellen, running his own schemes, meets with the incredibly skilled bounty hunter Leo Bonhart and tells him to find and kill the rats, including their newest member, a fierce fighter reportedly matching Ciri's description. Meanwhile, Geralt and his party, now with Regis in tow, reach a refugee camp which is attacked by Nilfgaardians as soon as they arrive, and during the raid, Geralt is knocked out by a surprise blow to the head. Episode 4: A Sermon of Survival. Waking up, Geralt finds himself in the capture of the Northern Army, who had fought off the Nilfgaardians while he was unconscious. Jaskier is brought before Radovid, his former lover, and Geralt before Dijkstra, Radovid's other advisor. While Dijkstra taunts Geralt by telling him of Emhyr and Ciri's engagement, the desperate king begs Jaskier to stay with him in return for freeing Geralt. When Jaskier refuses, Radovid angrily has him thrown into a makeshift prison tent with Geralt, whom Dijkstra orders to have executed. Back in Stygia Castle, Vilgefortz, having suspected Fringilla of being a spy, has her imprisoned, hoping to torture Yennefer's location out of her. At Monte Calvo, Triss Merigold, a friend of Yennefer, brings a few witchers from Geralt's school as support, including Vesemir, who's like a father figure to Geralt. Inside Geralt and Jaskier's prison tent, the guard assigned to execute Geralt makes his move, but his attempt to execute the witcher is thwarted by Regis, who appears out of nowhere and easily incapacitates the guard before ripping the two free from their chains with his bare hands. Revealing that he had already suspected Regis's true identity, that of a vampire, Geralt thanks the doctor. While sneaking out of the camp, they are met with their other companions, which now also includes Cahir, a former Nilfgaardian knight who had once hunted Ciri, but now wishes to help her. And just as they are all reunited, however, the Northern Army camp is ambushed by Nilfgaard. This time, the party narrowly manages to escape. Episode 5: The Joy of Cooking. After placing some distance between themselves and the battle, the party sets camp and Regis shares his story. Once a normal vampire, Regis fell in love with a human and decided to give up drinking blood. Displeased by this, his vampire family decided to kill his lover, Bathan, causing Regis to go berserk and kill them all. The violence alerted the humans of a nearby village, and they cut off Regis's head before burying him next to Bathan's corpse, where he remained trapped for half a century. Hearing this heartbreaking tale, Geralt decides to forego his duty as a witcher, and he agrees to set aside his monster hunting principles and allows Regis to travel with them. Elsewhere, after suffering through Vilgefortz's torture, Fringilla finally reveals that the Lodge are preparing an army against him at Monte Calvo. And once he leaves the room, however, Fringilla uses a magical communication device to inform Yennefer that Vilgefortz has fallen for the bait. Episode 6: Twilight of the Wolf. Thinking that they have the advantage, Vilgefortz's mages launch an attack on Philippa's castle, but they find the Lodge well prepared. Although they suffer some losses, the sorceresses are able to kill a large number of the enemy forces. Wanting to end Yennefer personally, Vilgefortz descends onto the chaotic battlefield and he searches for her. But finding him first, Vesemir challenges the powerful mage to a duel. Though the old witcher fights admirably, even inflicting a serious wound, Vilgefortz is ultimately able to best him, and he kills him with a stab through the chest.
And that was for me.
As the battle progresses, the two forces meet in the courtyard of the heavily damaged castle. Vilgefortz and his army attack with a combined fire spell, while the sorceresses protect themselves with a shield, and thanks to Philippa's help, Yennefer is able to flood the area with water, bringing the enemy forces to their knees. Recovering first, Vilgefortz stands up and attacks Yen, who is able to hang on long enough for Fringilla and Istrid, another of Yen's captured allies at Stygia, to take over the portal blocker and end Vilgefortz's restriction. Teleporting behind the surprised enemy, the sorceresses kill the enemy mages, and now alone on the battlefield, Vilgefortz is forced to flee back to Stygia. Arriving at the chamber, Vilgefortz can only watch as Istrid completely destroys the portal blocker, and having exhausted his life force for this task, Istrid is teleported to Monte Calvo by Fringilla and dies in Yennefer's arms. Meanwhile, the rats, now with Ciri on board, start taking on bigger and bigger jobs, raising their profile. Things appear to be going smoothly until one night, Ciri is surprised when the rats enter a house, and instead of stealing gold, they kidnap a young noble boy. Though she goes along with it, this clearly makes Ciri uncomfortable. Episode 7. What I Love, I Do Not Carry. The next morning, a merchant named Hotspurn comes to collect the boy, revealing that the job had been sanctioned by Nilfgaardian royalty. Handing over their payment, he also informs them that Bonhart is hot on their trail and is staying at an inn in a nearby town. Despite having had a run-in with Bonhart in the past, the overconfident rats claim that the bounty hunter should be fearful of them instead. Ciri, meanwhile, is shocked that the rats occasionally do jobs for Nilfgaard and has a huge argument with them due to her hatred of Emir, who invaded Cintra, her childhood homeland.
We work for Mia.
No, you're on a first-name basis.
Shit, no. We work for ourselves.
We take jobs from a lot of people.
Name our price, take our share.
All of you are liars. Pathetic, shitty little liars.
Leaving them, she follows Hotspurn out of town, before eventually attacking his caravan and freeing the boy. Begging for his life, Hotspurn reveals that disclosing Bonhart's location to the rats was actually a trap to lure them in, and realizing that Missile is in danger, Ciri rushes back. Back in the north, Yennefer teleports to Geralt's location and informs his party of the Battle of Monte Calvo. Having snuck into Emir's castle, she also reveals to Ciri that Geralt's group was heading towards to rescue is a fake. As they discuss how to proceed, Regis discloses that there is a circle of druids nearby who are masters in the art of triangulation. Geralt and company decide to head there, while Yennefer returns to Monte Calvo to help the surviving mages and hunt down Vilgefortz. Episode 8. Baptism of Fire. On their way to the forest of Cade Dew, where the druid circle is located, Geralt and the rest come across a bridge where the northern army is being attacked by Nilfgaard. Stepping in to assist, Geralt and the others help fight off both the Nilfgaardians and a large monster that interrupts the battle. Seeing the help that he and his people provided, Queen Mev of Lyria and Rivia approaches them after the battle. Ordering Geralt to kneel, she knights him and proclaims that Geralt must now serve her and her kingdom alone for the rest of his life.
Serve us faithfully, Sir Geralt of Rivia, with courage and valor, with allegiance to me, and only me, in the days ahead and for all of time.
Hearing her words, Geralt realizes that he has gotten himself into a huge mess. Meanwhile, the rats loudly plant themselves in front of Bonhart's inn and they taunt him. Dancing his way down the inn steps, Bonhart obliges their request for a battle with a smile. The rats immediately attack, but it is clear that they are out of their depths and they are slowly killed off one by one. As Missile, suffering from a fatal stab wound, slowly crawls away from Bonhart, Ciri finally arrives. Screaming in horror and rage, Ciri rushes down Bonhart, and though she puts up a tougher fight, she too is subdued by the incredibly skilled master swordsman.
You're about to die here, but you don't fear it, do you?
However, he does not kill her, but only knocks her out. Waking up, Ciri witnesses the nightmarish sight of Bonhart decapitating the rats and placing their heads in a barrel. Forcing an attendant to hold Ciri's head, he cruelly compels her to watch as he beheads Missile. Having fallen into the hands of an absolutely insane lunatic, Ciri must now somehow survive long enough for Geralt to come and find her. And that's it for The Witcher Season 4. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I thought this season was gonna be terrible, but it was actually pretty damn good. Liam Hemsworth did a great job as Geralt, the plot was mostly faithful to the source material, and there was lots of fantasy action. I can't complain, and I'm looking forward to Season 5, but how about you guys? What did you guys think of The Witcher Season 4? Letdown or surprise hit? Comment below and let us know. If you liked this video, drop us a like or share it with a friend, and for more great videos in the future, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We'll be back soon with another video on your favorite entertainment, but as always, thanks for watching.